I feel like things are heating up, and maybe like heating up ever so slightly, but in the way that we've been really wanting to happen in the last year and a bit, just with that buyer confidence returning. So there's lots of different announcements that have have led to people feeling a little bit more certain about their moves in real estate. And we are seeing that slightly trend up in the Windsor-Essex stats. So I'm feeling hopeful.
We are in the spring market, so that's expected that things will increase. Average days on market, I know a lot of people want to know, how long is it going to take my house to sell? It's hard to get that stat because sometimes people will cancel and relist. But on average, it's between 30, 35 days, somewhere in there. Last winter, I think it peaked over 40 days. So, that time frame has shortened up for the month of April, which is good news.
The only thing that's significantly up is the amount of active listings that we have, which continues month after month over the last year to reach record highs. So definitely more choice for buyers, but it's just there's not as much confidence to eat up some of that inventory. So we'll continue to see that until we have a better correction in our marketplace, which I think is slowly starting to happen. We talked about having opportunities in that upper market, anything that's over 550,000. And this is where we saw a big increase in our sales recorded. So we had 156 in March, and it's actually gone up to 227 in April for the homes sold over 550,000. So that is where we see those opportunities finally being taken advantage of. The HST rebates, like some of these could be newer homes as well. So some of those HST rebates that people get excited about, despite the fact that we know it's not actually law yet, it still generates that interest. Someone might be able to sell that home that they've been squeezing their family of 5 into for the past few years, and finally upgrading to that 2-story home that gives them more space that they've been wanting but haven't been able to afford to make the move.
Yeah, as far as the HST rebate, there's been a lot of confusion in regards to the HST rebate. So as Amber said, it's not quite law yet. So the government has made this announcement that you can get up to $130,000 as an HST rebate. Now, a lot of people think they get $130,000 off. That's not the case. It's strictly the 13% HST, but it's not quite passed yet. So there's 2 things that have to pass. There's the provincial budget and the federal budget. So we're just waiting to hear on that. So in regards to how that works, you do have to have an agreement signed between April 1st of 2026 and March 31st of 2027. So we have had people interested in new builds and want to close, in the next couple of months. And what happens in that situation, if they are closing before it is passed into law, then they actually have to pay the HST on the home and then apply for the rebate themselves independently. So there is some confusion out there about that, but if you have any questions in regards to that, reach out to your local realtor. But it is a really great opportunity to buy a brand new home right now because of this rebate.
So since that announcement's happened, I haven't really seen that's shaken things up here so much, but there is 300 new homes available. And some of those homes start at $460,000. So these are like affordable price ranges to get a brand new detached home. And this is all across Windsor-Essex, Kingsville, Amherstburg, wherever you might want to find something, there are opportunities. And the ones that have been selling, they're probably averaging out $830,000. So that's, a new home. That's probably something that's a little bit bigger, but being able to get into a detached home for under $550,000 is pretty incredible. And that's due to this HST really opening things up for builders to get creative, to get some of this product moving. There might be 300 homes for sale on the marketplace. There are still builders that are doing things off of MLS as well. But they have relationships with realtors to help them work through those processes. So if you have a realtor, don't be afraid to approach a builder that isn't on MLS, because everyone is looking for an opportunity to build a house and get some things going. And just because it's not on MLS or what you would know as realtor.ca doesn't mean that there aren't opportunities available for you as well.
So the houses that are selling in that 30 to 35 day time frame, those houses are priced properly. And, it's as a realtor, You have to have those tough conversations with clients sometimes, because some sellers think that their price is worth way more than it actually is. So pricing your home is the most important thing that you can do in today's market. And how you can do that is you need to rely on your real estate agent to inform you about the current market and show you comparables to your home. You know, what have things sold for in the last 30 to 60 days? Because we can't rely on comparables from 6 months ago, or let alone a couple of years ago, back when in 2021 and when the market peaked in 2022. Those prices just aren't happening anymore. So, you know, we're having tough conversations with sellers, and we have to bring them back down to reality. And it's important to have those tough conversations with them, because if you go to market and your house is listed way too high, it's going to be a very stressful, long process, and your house just may not end up selling. And that is not what you want to do. So rely on your real estate agent and ask for the data. Ask them to show you the comparables in your area within the last 30 to 60 days. And obviously it depends on items in your home too. Square footage. Does everything have to be replaced in your home? Is it updated? Because people take into account all of those things. If they have to replace the kitchen, the furnace, the air conditioning, and all the high-ticketed items, they are going to take that into account for the price of your home.
Every chance we can get to give more information to our clients to improve transparency and to improve the client experience in general is something at Royal LePage Binder we highly support, and which is why our website is a great tool to be able to sign up and you can see sold data yourself. So you can be that person looking and seeing what your neighbor's house sold for, or the home that you were interested in. We need to put a lot of trust into our realtor to determine how these things are actually working out in the marketplace. But you have that tool available to you as well. So you can stay on top of it and see what things are selling for, which gives buyers a real edge in today's marketplace. Even in our bigger marketplaces like Toronto, they're finally seeing an increase in things, which means that reality might be setting in for sellers and buyers finally, right? Especially for our sellers who have unrealistic expectations. There's a lot of things happening, obviously, still globally around us, but focusing on what buyers and sellers need right now and ignoring the noise that's around us is all we can do.
People are having children. People's children are going off to school and they're becoming empty nesters. Unfortunately, you know, people pass away. There's estate sales. There's always going to be buyers and sellers out there, and to keep the real estate market active.
There may be noise in what happens for a typical buyer and seller, but in the real estate world, there was a big franchise takeover as well that, you know, has created a lot of noise in our industry and also a lot of confusion. We don't know what's going to happen, but Remax was acquired by a company called Real, which is a technology company. So it's very interesting from a franchise standpoint to see a small fish eat a big fish and have that big fish continue to say that nothing's going to change. Our franchise with Royal LePage is a Canadian-owned, Canadian-operated company that we know is stable and will continue to put the focus on our agents and growing our agents to be the best realtors in Canada. We're proud to stand behind that. We're interested to see where the shift will take Remax agents. We prefer the stability and that Canadian recognition that is trusted at every kitchen table across Canada.
There's room for everybody in this industry, right? So, and I think Canadian brands like Royal LePage, we're showing why they've stood the test of time.
If I woke up tomorrow and a cloud-based technology brokerage of 30,000 people ate up my 150,000 person company being Remax, I would have no words. I would be exactly how I'm feeling right now. There would be no path forward. There would be so much confusion as to what my identity is, what my brand is. It doesn't bode well for the franchise and the strength that Remax has had in our industry for so long. It's a trusted brand, and now that trusted brand is married up with something that is very new, not really focused in Canada. It's an American company, and it has a very different business model. So it'll be really interesting to see how things pan out.
We're right in the thick of the spring market.
Yes,
like
we
are.
are.
It's May. Yeah.
Things are, they're slowly warming up, and we'll see what May brings us. We love to see the increases month over month. We're past the lower sales of the colder months, and we'll see if we have an uptick in sales with all the activity shifting and all of the excitement with HST and new builds. So join us next month for hopefully a deeper conversation as to what's going on in Windsor-Essex.